Exodus 34, 4 to 6, 8 to 9. Early in the morning, Moses went up Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him, taking along the 2 tablets, stone tablets. Having come down in a cloud, the Lord stood with Moses there and proclaimed his name, Lord. Thus the Lord passed before Moses, and Moses cried out, the Lord, a merciful and gracious God, slow to anger, rich in kindness and fidelity. Moses at once bowed down to the ground in worship. Then he said, if I find favor with you, O Lord, do come along in our company. What an image for God. Join our company. Be with us. This indeed is a stiff-necked people. Yet pardon our wickedness and sins and receive us as our own. This is the second book of the Bible. This is the Old Testament. This is when, just a couple of chapters before this, they had made this molten calf, golden calf. Where did they get all the stuff to make this calf? Out in the desert. It's obviously a symbol of how, again, these people were making the transition from worshiping many gods to choosing the one true God, despite the fact that Abraham had made that decision hundreds of years earlier. And of course, we can't say anything about, why are those people so silly? Look at us. I mean, we're continually focused on the one true God. Doesn't look that way. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm confused. I don't know if it's the Lord that said, the Lord, a merciful and gracious God, or if it was Moses. But either way, who cares, right? Again, this is the Old Testament. The Old Testament, Moses, 1,200 years before the birth of Jesus, or so, and identifying God as merciful and gracious, slow to anger. How slow? Slower than the maple trying to get out of a tree in Vermont in the middle of winter.
It's pretty slow.
Rich in faithfulness and kindness. And so Moses is experiencing God again on Mount Sinai. And we know what it's like to go to the mountains, except those who have breathing difficulties at high altitudes. But how we can, I mean, it's almost impossible for anybody, or they're a rock, to be in the mountains and not have some sense of the awesomeness of God. And of course, God is giving the commandments. And again, these commandments were given not to restrain people, but to help them be guided, to end in a relationship, intimate relationship with God. And so the rules part of our lives, hopefully we are taught them, and in the 10 Commandments as well, taught them in a way that we can automatically see that they lead into the personal relationship with Jesus, with God, a person who's open to the Spirit. And they're not there to provide a means by which we can establish false security. We're provided by God as ways to express His care. And we know that the first 3 had to do with how we relate with God, and the other 7 have to do with how we relate with one another. And we know that Jesus took those commandments in Matthew chapter 5 and expanded them in the Beatitudes in saying what it was not to lie, not to kill, not to commit adultery. He took them and blew them wide open. You think you can pat yourself on the back just because you haven't committed actual adultery? Let me tell you a thing or two. Anyway, but we want to focus on who God is, and we want to realize that all of us can be stiff-necked. We know what it's like when someone's stiff-necked, when we say something and you can almost see the hair on the back of their head beginning to straighten out and whatever. That's anger brewing. And so these people just were not satisfied with God. And so Moses is saying, pardon us, be with us, walk with us, be one of us, as if we needed to ask that. I mean, that's again going back to the gospel we began with, that God so loved the world. The presence of God is infused in everything that God created. And it's our privilege to continue to find every way possible to come to appreciate what it means for God's goodness to be infused in every one of our fibers.